Now.
I call the Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to, on this call, and I'm sorry for Leanne that I didn't realise you were going to take a call. But I wanted to address a different issue, and that was just to emphasise that the Select Committee has been careful to limit some of the powers that were proposed in this part of the bill. And I'm going to mention a couple of examples. As the Greens have acknowledged in one of the recent contributions, there are occasions where there are things that are going down that require the police to do things in a shorthand way without actually going through the formalities of getting a warrant. And I thought that was a proper acknowledgement by the Greens. The bill allows warrantless surveillance in some situations. The bill came to the Select Committee recommending that it could happen for up to 3 days, 72 hours. And the Select Committee said, no, that's too long. The police should be able to get a warrant within 48 hours. And if they can't get a warrant within 48 hours, they should desist. And so that was changed in the bill. It was shortened from 72 hours to 48 hours. And at the same time, it was made clear that the 48 hours had to start from the time of the surveillance. And that would mean that they couldn't have repetitious 47-hour periods. Because the way it was drafted when it came to Select Committee, you could do it for 47 hours, turn the camera off for an hour, you haven't breached the 48-hour period, and you could start again and do it for another 48 hours. So the Select Committee really was alert to trying to limit these matters. In terms of the retention of data, when you have a surveillance operation, you actually don't just catch the criminal that you're trying, or the alleged criminal. He or she might not even be a criminal, they're an alleged criminal. You don't just get them on your tape, you get lots of other people. So if this is in a private situation, or even if it's in a public situation, people have got a right, not to be under the surveillance by the state, and that sort of thing ought not to be kept forever. And so again, the Select Committee, wind it up, Mr. Hayes says. Mr. Henare, wind it up. Yeah, well, that's right. He wants to get on with something that to him is more important than the proper balance between civil liberties and state powers. And I suspect. You're with us. You're with us. Okay. I thought you might want to have a debate on the Sale of Liquor Act or something like that tonight instead. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the retention of data, the Select Committee has said that there should be further limitations on the period for which that can be kept, and that's strengthened as well. There are a number of other strengthening. The reporting requirements for surveillance device warrants have been strengthened by the Select Committee. Again, the government cooperated in these things, and therefore I find it absolutely impossible to understand why they won't tighten up the Serious Fraud Office powers. Can I acknowledge the contribution from New Zealand First? I actually agree with a lot of what New Zealand First said there in respect of examination orders. It's a line call as to whether they should be permitted at all. I agree with that. I can actually argue both sides of that case because it is a line call. But, no, it's not a flip-flop. It's actually acknowledging that in this Parliament we actually have to draw very difficult lines on difficult issues. And we can actually agree to disagree as to where that line can be drawn. I respect the views, which I thought were quite principled, and I admire that principle. What I don't, and I could actually see the Minister coming out here and arguing for matters of principle that I would disagree with her, and I could have a reasoned discussion with her. What I can't understand is that in the case of media freedoms, we're not protecting the media in respect of the issue of examination orders that require the media to talk to the police, but with protections, why we can't have those same protections afforded to Serious Fraud Office. And so, Minister, I ask you again to respond, and because you weren't in the chair when I took my last call, your prior call, you accused us of effectively being soft on crime because we won't back these unprincipled changes to the law when you won't move on the tightening up of Serious Fraud Office. And I suggest to you, the Minister, that it is inappropriate to make that accusation, because there is a serious debate here going on as to the proper balance between civil liberties and state powers.
I call the Honourable Leanne Dalzell.
Mr Chairman, I was going to comment on the Minister's comments